Hey everyone, we have a special guest on today's podcast, an amazing friend and also an excellent human being, my good friend Seif, and we are in his home where the vibe is just absolutely amazing. He even made some espresso martinis that are Turkish coffee and some delicious Middle Eastern and Egyptian snacks that we have here. We talk about aviation, great stories about the planes that we fly, fitness, and lifestyle. So the Fit Aviators Club show starts now. Welcome to the Fit Aviators Club Podcast, where aviation, fitness, and mindset meet to improve the balance of your health and quality of life in aviation. This is your host, Fernando Contreras, and you are cleared to write the numbers, max forward speed, because the Fit Aviators Club show starts now. Bro, beautiful setup.
Thank you, bro.
Is this the Pilot Seif setup? Tell me about this setup, man. This is good. We got a little espresso martini going
absolutely.
here.
Yeah, man. This is. I wanted to make my own place. I wanted to put a lot of art.
Yeah, I see that.
With all the airplanes I flew, destinations, memories. So I just wanted to make sure this is my place, because as you know, I'm outside Miami a lot, and when I'm here, I just want to.
You want to feel like this is your place.
Yeah, bro. I just want to enjoy, you know. I'll make my espresso martini, just sit in my mini bar area, you know, lounging.
which is a Turkish coffee espresso martini.
Yes.
So I love the little kick that it has to it, man.
We made it.
And some of these photos were taken by you, right?
Yeah, actually. Most of them are taken by me. That was me, Carolina Island. You can see the Cessna.
Yeah.
Carolina, this is the airplane I used to fly. This is me actually drinking coffee. The 650, the Caravan on floats over there, and New York, and also Cali. So, most of the houses pictures I took.
Yeah, no, it looks awesome, dude. I love the vibe. Every time I come here, I'm like, wow, this is really
Thank you so much, bro. You're more than welcome anytime.
I'm gonna sleep here tonight.
It's your place. It's your place.
Bro, so I'm gonna dive right into it. First question I have for you is, are you a pilot first or an athlete first?
Great question. I would say definitely athlete first. Been doing sports since I was a little kid back in Egypt. And I feel like it turned into a lifestyle. Coming into the 15, 16 years of age, this is where you start getting more interested, about your future, but I'm still have the active lifestyle. I don't think I never stopped more than a year in doing any activity. So it became something very essential for me, and mainly also mental awareness and toughness. It helps you with a lot of stuff. And when aviation came in the picture, it definitely balanced it, because as you know, we study a lot. There's a lot of days that you're just on the road and you're tired, and this is when it kicks in and be like, okay, no excuses. How can you find a new routine that I still can make sure that I get my physical activity in? I would say I'm definitely an athlete first before aviation.
Right on. Yeah, I think the same. You know, I always thought growing up, for me, it was I want to be a pilot. I want to be a pilot. But throughout my whole, childhood, teenage years, and young adulthood, it was athletes. It was athletic lifestyle pretty much the whole time, sports. And I didn't even realize what I chose first until I was actually having a conversation with somebody on Instagram, and they said, "Yeah, I'm an athlete first, then a pilot." And then that's when it sank to me that I'm like, oh shit, I think I'm the same, Because you're just always so focused on what the future's gonna be. What's my career gonna be? What's this gonna be?
Absolutely.
But you forget that what the identities that you are at that moment, right there and then, which is pretty interesting to me. It was kind of eye-opening. So I ask now people who are very indulged in their health and fitness and they prioritize that a lot. What are they first? An athlete first, or are they a pilot
No,
first?
absolutely. It's a great question. And this is actually why I'm so proud of you, and the way even we got to meet each other. As you guys don't know, I follow them on Instagram because your lifestyle, because you're an athlete, because you show what you eat. You're giving the people the tools to use to be healthier, especially for pilots, how to be healthy on the road. And that's how we met. And bro, since then,
Instant connection.
Yeah, man, like respect to what you do and the motivation that you gave me on the days. And I told you that, like, when I was a flight instructor, I would look at your lifestyle and you're flying jets, and bro, like, you motivate me every day. And I took him on the first flight in Long Beach.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. And since then we're literally like very, very close friends.
Yeah, it's been really awesome. I remember that flight in Long Beach where it was just me, you, our friend Abdul, and you took us out flying. We actually went to Catalina.
Yeah, we went to Catalina, then we jumped in Torrance Airport.
That's right.
Then we went out after.
It's a good time. It's a really good time. So, Seif, you mentioned you were, born in Egypt. What was it like to, one, come here to the United States and then pursue your dream of becoming a pilot? Take me through that journey. I'd love to know.
Egypt, it's you've been to Egypt, right?
Yes.
How did you like it?
Egypt was very eye-opening for me. One, how beautiful it was to embrace a different culture.
Okay.
To embrace the history, and just to embrace the people from there. It was something so different and so unique to me that I would love to continue going back and explore all the parts of Egypt that there are to explore. And it's crazy enough because they continue to find things that have been historically there for thousands and thousands
that's
of
crazy.
years,
Yeah, I mean, you kind of brought a light on this, like, coming from a place where history and culture is very unique and it's very deep. It's been very important to me to make sure that people around me or whoever I meet know, like, I'm from Egypt, because I am proud that I was born and raised in Cairo, Egypt, and it did make me grow differently than a lot of people here in the States. Doesn't mean like people here are bad or anything. It's just like I have a different perspective how I grew up as a little kid and how I wanted to be a pilot, and the Egyptian like side didn't really work, and what was the choices that I had, and I took that huge risk to come here to the States, and nothing but like amazing success for me, like life-wise, career-wise, but it wasn't easy, of course, as you know. So the Egyptian part definitely gave me that, like, what we call it, like the dog in you, like that like extra, like, okay, I gotta get where I want to be.
Like fierce thing inside,
the gears, you just gotta keep going, and being a pilot, or anyone wants to be a pilot or aviator or any career, honestly, you just have to have a passion behind it. This is the key word, passion. Once you have passion in something, you're gonna find a way to make it happen and make it alive. Again, like, it's not easy, but you have to have that passion, that drive. So I feel like growing up in Egypt, that's what has been implanted in me by my parents since I was young. Like, have a passion, go after it, don't stop till you make it happen, but also be smart with your decisions, like if that's something for me or not, because you don't want to keep chasing something that it's eventually the wrong road for you. You need to have realization throughout the process, like, okay, where should I head there? And everyone goes through this in life, and I just feel like definitely Egypt gave me a lot of different routes to start with in the States, and I'm very grateful to be here as well. It's a great opportunity. A lot of people in Egypt would wish to be in my shoes, but yeah, man, I'm very, very grateful. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. No, totally, man. Every day that if anybody doesn't know, I was born in Venezuela, but I came here when I was very young.
Yeah.
And knowing the amount of greatness that there is here in the United States and the possibilities and everything, I'm humbled every single day, and I'm very thankful every single day. Of course, I don't forget my roots either. And there's beautiful things about the Venezuelan culture and beautiful things about the American culture. And combining them both, it's really great. And I'm sure you feel the same way about Egyptian culture and also American culture as well.
Absolutely.
Because every time that I come and we're hanging out and I come over your house, I get a little bit of that. I feel like I'm back at Cairo for like a couple
always.
hours.
That's how we do it, always.
It's amazing, but it's also how I feel how everybody treated us there. It was just this amazing vibe that I really enjoyed
Yeah,
about Egypt.
you guys have fun.
We had so much fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw your Instagram. I saw your Instagram stories. You guys looked like you had a blast, and you traveled outside Cairo. So, like, this is why I tell people, like, it's not only Cairo, it's not only the pyramids. Like, Egypt is huge. If you ever get the chance to go, like, do your research. People are very nice. So I went back in April, and the dollar amount, like, it's crazy over there.
It's like it's so much more worth of the dollar over there.
Yeah, like $1 is like 30 something Egyptian pounds.
Wow.
31. And I mean, the value of the Egyptian pound too like changed, and it's been like 11 years since I went back there. So it was kind of a culture shock for me. But yeah, you gotta go visit Egypt, do your research.
You won't be disappointed.
And yeah, you're gonna have a lot of fun, a lot of good food.
So the last time before you were there was 11 years ago. What was that moment like? Share with us, if you will, when you left to get on a plane to leave Egypt.
Wow, that was
and everything.
I still remember that moment till that day. It was kind of like, when you're in something, you're like, yo, this is really happening.
Yeah.
Like I was in disbelief, even on the airplane coming to Miami. I remember like I was on, I believe, Qatar Airways, because I flew from Cairo to Doha to Miami. And I remember that flight, 15 hours, and coming to Miami, like I can see the skyline. I'm like, bro, this is crazy. Like
surreal.
I'm gonna learn how to fly in Miami. And back then I was 21, 21, something like this. And again, in my mind, like I didn't know what Miami was. The only thing I knew, like South Beach, Ultra Music Festival.
Yeah.
Like the fun kids started to get out, like, yo, get ready. But you soon realize, like, if you want to be a pilot, there's a huge discipline that it has to come with it as well. Studying, beside the books and all that, just your personality, how you present yourself. And I took this very serious. Like, I didn't want to mess with it. But yeah, man, that day was very like surreal for me. It's kind of also like a dream. Like I was so tired when I landed. I didn't know anyone here. So it was a lot going on, and I tried to calm myself down. Like everything is kind of like a puzzle. Everything is gonna come in place. Mm-hmm. I had a plan. You gotta have a plan with everything. So I had a plan, but it's one of the best moments I'm gonna mark in my life.
Yeah.
Flying from Cairo to Egypt, November 11, 2011.
What? 11/11/11.
Yeah, November 11, 2011. This is when I entered the US.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
That is crazy.
Yeah, man. That is. I just thought about it.
You just thought about that right now. It's crazy. It's so admirable to hear the stories of people who have done what's necessary to be here in the United States and seek the future that they want for them, pursue their dreams. Mm-hmm. Because it's not easy to leave your family behind and come here alone, regardless of whether you have a plan or not. Just the fact that you're going to be separated from your family is already one big deal. The next is, how are you going to move forward? And I greatly admire people who are able to do that. I was in a different situation because I came with my immediate family to the United States, all of us at once.
How long was that?
That was in 2000.
Okay.
So 23 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. And when you're young, you don't really realize it. And the fact that your family's there with you, it's a smoother transition. You don't feel, I'm sure my parents, they definitely felt the change. They definitely felt the pressure to maintain now a family here in the United States. My dad was still working for an international carrier, and the commute was, I would see him every 4 to 5 months for like a week, and then he'd be back.
Yeah, that's intense.
So there are the pros and cons, but I still had my family, and I often think when I hear stories like that, what if I came here by myself without my family? How would I feel? Would I be the same person? So everybody's life is so in this trajectory, right? And
Absolutely.
I think what you've done for your career, your friends, the family you've created here, because you have created family here. You know, the people that you hang out with are way more than just friends.
You're my family,
AKA me.
Let's go.
And it's not easy, man. So I greatly admire.
Oh, thank you, brother.
I admire that.
I admire you, man. Like I said, like you hit a really good point. Actually, everyone has a different story. Mm-hmm. Every person has their unique story. So find your story. Be original. A lot of people nowadays try to like copy. And there's nothing bad with copying successful habits, but you have an original story. So find your story and stick with it. And I promise you, like, if you want to make something happen, it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And you're a perfect example before me, you know, like you came with your family and all the odds and everything is against you, and look at you now, like, you know.
Thank you, brother.
No, absolutely, man.
You know, one of the greatest things that we have been able to do here is obviously become the career, or chase the career that we want and become the pilots that we want it to be. Was being a pilot always your dream in Egypt? And that's like one of the main reasons why you came to learn how to fly here?
So yes and no. It was very gray. Being a pilot in Egypt is like you have kind of like two roads. As I know, it's been 10 years, so maybe there's new stuff over there. But as I know, when I was researching, either you go private, like private sector where flight school, etc.
Yeah.
And it's very different than the flight schools here. Or you go to the army and you be like a fighter pilot. I tried to be a fighter pilot. I didn't get accepted because something was in my legs, like wasn't perfect. Everything has to be perfect, as you know. Mm-hmm. And the other section was, okay, I'm gonna go to a flight school. Now, flight schools in Egypt, back when I was trying to go to a flight school, it was like so expensive over there. It's like, it was more like, okay, after I knew that a lot of pilots that they had their commercial license and they were sitting at home or working in a bank or not doing anything. So in Egypt, they wait for like they call it the Al-Alan, or like the Egypt Air commercial will be like, hey, we want pilots. Mm-hmm. And that's when people start apply. So that was like a big obstacle to me. Second obstacle, when you have a brother in Egypt, you have to serve in the army for 1 year. It's mandatory. There's two ways to get out of it. Either you have another citizenship or you're above 31 years. By the time I was in college, and after I finished college, if I go to another school, like it wouldn't stop me to be a pilot, but at a certain time before I got hired in Egypt Air, you have to serve for the army. So that was like another obstacle, like, okay, that's another year of my life. And it just started to be like realization, like, okay, is this really what I want to do? You know, your parents always tell you like, no, you got to go to college. You have to get your degree first, then do whatever you want to do. So I did that. Then after this, like it clicked like last year in college, like doing like business administration and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, this is not for me. No disrespect for anyone, but like we're talking aviation, and I felt it's trending toward that. Like this is kind of like what I want to do. That's exciting me when I think about it. My stepfather as well, he's a flight engineer for the British Airways in Egypt. So a lot of times he would come with like big books on a 747. They would change airplanes coming to Cairo. So 747, A321, A320s, 777s. So at the time when like it was busy, like I would always like open the books and like see the engine and crazy stuff, and I would talk to him. And he would be like, yo, just get a flight simulator and start like learning the instruments and help you with this and help you with that, and like start like getting into it if you really want to be into it. And this is what I started to do slowly. And I started to ask a couple people I know that they obtained their license from United States and they came back and worked for Egypt Air. Okay. So the goal was more toward now, okay, we're gonna save some money, go get my flight school somewhere in the United States, get that I'm outside of Egypt experience, come back, fly for Egypt Air, and here we go.
That was your main goal.
That was the main goal.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we're still here. We're still here. So, but yeah, so I don't drift outside your question. It started to hit me like around like 15 years.
Yeah.
I started to be like, okay, like in the beginning of like end of high school, beginning of college, this is when, okay, I started to really like research more. End of college, like I had my decision where I'm gonna go. And from there, it's just matter of like financial paperwork, immigration, all that stuff. And the revolution hit, I think it was 2009 or 2011, when they kicked the president Hosni Mubarak from like being a president. It was a big like thing in Egypt. Like there was like no police, the army came in the streets.
Wow.
There was like Hazrat Agawul, it's mean like curfew.
Okay.
Yeah, so sometimes I freeze with my English is not the perfect, but yeah, curfew. So like I saw crazy days, like people stealing from. There's a lot of like, you call it like looting, like when
looting,
people
yes.
looting, yeah. So it was crazy. 1 year before I leave. So doing the visa and getting into the States, I kind of mentally said like, it's not gonna happen safe, because this is like, I'm so against the odds. Like they probably know like everyone wants to just go out, but I really just wanted to come here to learn how to fly.
Yeah.
But everything was so smooth and I was so welcomed, and I was, you know, like worried a little bit about like, because I'm from Egypt and I'm Muslim and this and my name and this and that, but everything went so smooth, to be honest with you.
Speaking about your name, your name has a really awesome meaning. Can you please tell us
what I love it
means?
bro. So it's Saifuddin Ali Ibrahim Abdel Fattah. But first name is Saifuddin, last name is Abdel Fattah. Seif al-Din, Seif means sword, il-Din means religion. So sword of the religion, like it's such a like a heavy name, but no one calls me that. Just
sure.
Yeah, just Seif, like safe travels.
Pilot safe travels.
Exactly.
That's
it. Pilot safe travels. But yeah, man, I appreciate it. I'm so like grateful to have like a unique name, because as you know me, I always try to be unique. Like freaking orange couch. Like and unique with limitation, and because you gotta be different in this world, you know, and that's why I like. Maybe some people don't agree. Like you gotta be like very white and black, which is fine. Some people, this is their personality.
Yeah.
But I'm just gonna like just be yourself and be happy, you know.
That's
and like so I'm so happy that my name is kind of also very unique, like Seif, you know.
Yeah. So there's always something that kind of gets us involved in aviation, right? For me, it was like looking at my dad's approach charts when he would bring them, you know, big suitcase, you know, and like he was on the 727 at that time. And by the time I started seeing these approach charts and these manuals, he was already a captain on the 727. And I'm just like, whoa, this is so cool. And everything that I wanted to do was just to be just like him, you know. I would wear his hat. I would wear everything that has to do with aviation. And what I love getting to know about people who are, you know, pilots is what got you involved or what got you interested in the fact that you wanted to be a pilot, because everybody's story is so different too. Just like everybody's path is so unique in obtaining in chasing the dreams that they want, everybody's means for that is also very unique. And I always love hearing the stories about what got them interested in aviation. So that was really cool, and thank you for sharing that, because it's really humbling to hear everybody's story.
Yeah, bro, absolutely. Well, your dad still works in American, right?
No. My dad flies for an international carrier.
Oh, so
he's on the 737.
That's awesome, man. On the 747?
No, 737.
737.
Yeah, so we get to share stories about
bro,
the same airplane we fly.
This is dope, bro.
I know. That's one of the coolest things.
Well, what's the coolest story that you guys shared about the same airplane that you guys fly?
Oh man, this was really funny. He would always, so he was a Czech airman, and in the airline world, that means like he's the instructor pilot who's checking out if you're doing everything good, or if you're going to upgrade to a captain, or if you're starting off as first officer. And a lot of the questions that he usually gives his students is, what happens when the pack light comes on, right? And there's the 737's method of realizing what is wrong with the airplane it takes a couple steps, right?
So it's because
it takes a couple steps to kind of know, because one light might mean that one of the sensors out of the two of them is not working. And then if the light stays on after you hit that little thing, that means both of them are not working, or the pack is overheating, or something like that.
So there's a lot of scenarios.
There's a lot of scenarios. There's a lot of things that you should kind of know about the systems about the 737. It's not like how other airplanes, like when I used to fly the Embraer, we used to have an ICAS, and it'd be like, boom. Okay, go to your QRH, then you get it. So, he would tell me this is one of the trickiest questions he would ask, either a captain upgrade or a first officer. What is it when the pack light comes on? And what if it extinguishes, or what if it stays on? Well, that actually happened to us in flight. The pack light came on and the thing wouldn't turn off. The light would stay on. And it's like, oh, wow, well, we're operating with one pack now. And so I already knew, hey, because he shared that with me, with me, I was like, oh, I know exactly what's happening, because of something that he kind of like gave me a little tip about. And this is the way that I studied for the airplane. It was kind of cool, because then after the flight, I called him. I'm like, hey, you remember that question you told me? It actually happened.
That's amazing.
So that's pretty cool. But they have different procedures than us, than how we fly the certain approaches. Like they can do Category 3 with auto land. We don't use auto land because we have a HUD, and similar to how you fly in the G650, which. It's very interesting to hear the different dynamics of the 737, how they're flown in different international carriers. But, speaking about the G650 that I just mentioned, tell me about that airplane, bro, because that is the Lambo of aviation, man.
Yeah, man.
How do you like flying it?
I love it. I love it. I mean, I try always to compare it to people. Like, imagine if you're driving, let's say, like a regular car, I don't know, like a Mini Cooper or a Jeep, and suddenly you get put in like in a Lambo, or like a nice luxurious car, and you get like, hey, you're the driver on it, like this is your daily driving, so you're like, wow, there's a lot of stuff going on here, a lot of power. The G650, Gulfstream 650, I never in my life thought I'll be flying a G650 as my first jet.
Yeah.
This is my first jet I ever flew. So, so I flew on SIC on it first for like, I would say like 4 months. Kind of got the grip of it, like using the FMS. We have 4 screens, 2 MFDs,
They're
2 PFDs. Massive.
They're like 25-inch screen.
75 is a whole. You
got OLED QR.
I'm just looking inside. Like I don't even it's crazy. And also we have like the controller is kind of like a mouse controller on the side. You can pick what you want, what images, what systems you want to see. So there was a lot to learn in the first like couple months as a SIC. I didn't landing, I didn't fly or anything, but I didn't know how much power you feel once you hit that thing. So I went almost 2.5 years ago to the initial in Orlando, and as you remember, I would be 2 hours with this guy on the phone trying to explain for me, like, hey man, how does this work? That was the big challenge for me, because I got thrown in a very advanced big airplane with a bunch of very experienced pilots that they flew jets for like 20 plus 30 plus years, and that was my first jet coming from like a Cessna or a Cirrus SR-22. It was like a huge jump.
Massive.
I was kind of like freaked out a little bit because I was very slow. Remember, like the first week, you're like, say if you're taking everything so deep and very slow, you need to skip that. Just know what they're teaching you and move on. So that was the big challenge. I think it was like 40 days of school, something like this, because my schedule changed, and they switched like the other pilot, my sim partner, and it was a huge thing. But got the type rating done. I was like in disbelief that like I'm a G650 captain as my first jet. And I was kind of like not scared, but my first trip ever on the G650 was from John Wayne Airport, SNA to Kona, Hawaii. Wow. So, and I had everyone the family I worked for, everyone was on board with the friends, and everyone was like, yo, let's go, like, congrats, your first leg. So I was like, okay, like, not nervous, not like a fear nervous, I'm scared to fly,
right.
But like, okay, let's perform.
Right.
The first takeoff, man, like, you just feel there, I think,
so different.
16,900 pounds of thrust.
Per side?
Yeah, 2 Rolls Royce. So you hit the auto throttles and you kind of feel like
you
that.
Launch.
Yeah.
It's a launch. It's not a takeoff.
And you're like, wow, like I'm the captain of this ship right now.
Dude, that's
so
awesome.
That feeling was like just skyrocketed with me. But flying the airplane, it's such an honor, Gulfstream. Like, if Gulfstream ever gonna watch, every season, Gulfstream, you guys make the best airplanes. No offense for Boeing or Airbus or anything. It's my first jet, but like, flying the Gulfstream is very unique. Fly-by-wire, the power, the technology inside, and the pressure. Like we were talking about it, like it's just insane.
Incredible.
Like
it's incredible.
We would be like at I would say like 49,000, 48,000 feet, and the pressure would be like cabin 4,700, something like that.
Oh my God!
Like it's just ridiculous.
Wow.
That's man.
That's very
so comfortable, so healthy for the pilots too, you know? Like they thought about like us,
everything,
how to be
of course
healthier. So yeah, man, I'm very, very grateful to be able to fly this machine as like my job, you know?
And it's also really cool because not only, you know, this is definitely going to be for another conversation, but the way you ended up in this situation to be flying a 650 and then also a Cessna Caravan and also a Latitude is a really humbling story. And it's really truly about like, if you really want to chase your dreams, you practice in silence and in real life, the results will show.
Absolutely.
Because it's such a great opportunity and you totally, absolutely deserve every single moment to be flying that 650, to be flying that Caravan, to fly for the people who you were flying for. But it's really cool that you're so, you know, you're going from a 650 and then all of a sudden you're going to go fly a Caravan on floats.
Yep.
Like that is so different. It's
so like, different.
You know?
So different. Man.
Tell me about the Caravan. What's that like, man? What's it like
Cessna Caravan.
It's on floats, right?
208 EX, 876 horsepower. Like it's the most advanced Caravan. Mm-hmm. And the good thing about this, like family I work for, they always said like we're like new and the best. Yeah. Like so the most powerful, the most newer. Like let's get it. So I was when I got hired. We'll talk about this in a second. But when I got hired, I essentially was hired to be on a Caravan, then Latitude, then eventually the 650. So I went to school in Kansas, Wichita, for the Caravan school initial. You don't have to have a type. It's not a type rating. It's just an initial school for the systems, and you have sim as well. What's so much fun was so much like easier transition from a Cessna to like a turboprop Cessna.
Yeah.
Because I was used to the G1000, the displays. It was just more power. And in the sim, I didn't really realize, okay, on the water is going to be a whole different ball game. Yeah. So first time I hop on the water, man, it's a lot of fun. It's more like the toy that as pilots, like, okay, let's go have some fun now. Yes, you're still, of course, like within the FAA limitations and procedure-wise and etc. But there's more into like the flying the machine itself. If any floats pilots watching us, you probably know what I'm talking about, and that feeling of like taking off on the water or like
that's amazing. Just
like taxiing a little fast on the water, like a boat, like an airplane. It's just so cool, you know. That transition was very easy from a Cessna to a Caravan. Then eventually like the jets came, but like you said, it's so much fun to like land at 650, go hop in a Caravan to transfer the family, where the final destination is going to be.
Right.
So it's, again, very unique opportunity as a pilot, as you know.
Right.
And I'm just, man, I'm very grateful. I couldn't like ask for a better opportunity to come for my career, to be I don't know how you call it, a corporate pilot or like private, you know, like for someone specific.
You know, it's pretty cool. I think the hardest thing about flying both of those would be, you know, you transition from landing a 650, which you're probably doing what? Your approach speed is like 120?
Yeah, around
something
that,
like that. And then all of a sudden you're in the Caravan where it's like 90.
Yeah, 80 or something. Like I'm holding it.
Whoa,
yeah,
dude. So funny thing is when we were in California and you took us out flying, you're. This is so
I remember.
funny.
I know.
You know, at that time I was still flying the 145.
Yes.
And so that's jet's approach speed, and we went out to go flying the Cessna. Seif was like taking us, and then I'm like, he's like, yeah, you're gonna start pulling power out, and we're like, Seif, we're still at 50 feet. Like I can't chop the power. He's like, no, take it out, trust me. I'm like, all right, I trust you.
I remember that.
And I was like, all right, I should flare. He's like, no, keep going, don't flare now. So different, dude.
Yeah, bro. No, of course. It's
I haven't flown a Cessna in so long, but
yeah,
it's just,
but you did great, bro.
Yeah.
Like that landing was really good.
well,
I'm
it was
like,
because you were saying like, do this, do that, do that. I was like, all right, cool.
but like you still had that muscle memory. It came back to you immediately. You know, it's just the speeds, the adjustment. You're listening to someone else, and I remember that landing was very good.
Yeah, thank you, bro. So now I want to shift over to the fitness and how you're able to keep it as, you know, our corporate pilot, because I even think it's even more challenging for your schedules. But before we get into that, you made and brought some amazing snacks. Can you please tell me what is in this platter?
Absolutely. You know, like as an Egyptian too, like you come in my home, you're gonna eat, and or like any Middle Eastern or African
style
they have
cuisine.
Yeah, exactly. We have this like culture thing, like you come home, there's food for you to feed you. So shout out to the original Daily Bread Marketplace, Steven Mizawi and the Mizawi family. They have one of the authentic, amazing food here down in Miami in Coconut Grove. So I go pick up a lot of food a lot of times. So we got some grape leaves stuffed with rice and beef, meat. Very, very traditional Middle Eastern, I would say like snack, or it can be like, we
Part
can
of your
eat
main
it.
plate.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We can eat a lot of this. Shawarma chicken, or like grilled chicken basically, but marinated with like different seasoning. It depends, like Turkish, they do different like seasoning. Lebanese people do their different, like Egyptian do different.
Yeah.
So, but it's the same concept. And here we got like kind of like a Spanish pie, and it has this wheat and like white bread with it, and of course you cannot forget our traditional hummus. Hummus, okay?
Yeah.
Hummus, not like I hear a lot of Hamas. No, I'm like hummus.
It's not hummus?
It's not Hamas, okay? That's Sabara stuff that you guys buy. This is not. It's not hummus. This is Hamas. This is hummus. I'm just kidding.
I gotta say something about Daily Bread though. When you took me to eat there, I think it's within the top 3 best foods I have ever had in my life.
Yeah,
It was so good.
Yeah, no,
incredible.
It is. It's basically you eating at someone's kitchen.
Yeah, that's
like,
what I felt like.
That's the vibe.
That's what I
That's
felt
the whole
like.
vibe, and it's very healthy and very well taken care of, and has that home style like flavor.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so let's dig in. What should we try first?
I would say
the leaves.
Yeah, go for the
Do we
leaves.
put some hummus?
Yeah.
Some hummus on it?
Dip it some hummus.
Hummus.
Yeah, we'll teach him then a little bit.
Yeah, I gotta practice that. I'm gonna dip that in there.
Here you go.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
Man, this is like handmade too. Like I know.
Like the initial bite is good, but like 3 seconds later, it gets even better.
Mm-hmm.
And even better as we keep. Oh my God. This is amazing. So there's beef, rice inside a leaf.
Mm-hmm.
That's really good. That's really, really good. Wow. Okay. What's the next thing we're going to try? The shawarma chicken?
Let's go.
Okay. I'll put a little bit of hummus on that too.
Absolutely.
Because it's everything with hummus just tastes so much better. Oh, damn. Did you make this or you got that from Daily Bread?
No, I got it from Daily Bread.
Oh, really?
But I make it too. People are watching us eating like, what is...
Yeah, I know, right?
No?
All right.
No?
The Spanish pie. Are these both the same?
Both the same.
All right. Is this Middle Eastern style? Type of?
Kinda.
Okay. So it's what? This is like the same leaf?
It's
Is
kinda,
it stuffed in here? Or different?
no, this is like spinach
Okay.
inside, and it's kind of like bread with spinach, basically.
Okay.
Like for lack of...
This is a typical snack?
Yeah, there's a lot of snacks like that.
Yeah.
My neighbor is like, she looked at us like, what the hell are they doing?
What are they? We're actually trying a bunch of great
Yeah,
food.
you're more than
You
welcome.
can't have any. Wow.
Right?
There's a nice kick. It's not immediate. It's like it takes a little bit, but it's so delicious.
So
Oh my
good.
God. This is really good. Wow.
I can just
Thank you,
eat
Daily
that.
Bread. Thank you for providing this, man.
Absolutely. Shout out Daily Bread. I can
right.
eat that all day.
Oh yeah. Once we're done with this, I'm gonna dive back in this.
Let's do it.
It's so good. So, we can have great healthy snacks like this all the time, especially when we're flying, right? So, what do you do, man, to keep your fitness on the road and here? I know here for you and for anybody, it's obviously a lot easier when you're back at home, but what do you do when you're gone for like 10, 12 days?
Great question. Habits, we always talk about habits, and planning. With my lifestyle, being a corporate pilot, we have that privilege that not a lot of pilots have, which is it's called a company card.
Oh,
So I have access, like it's kind of like per diem, but the people I work for, they're very generous, and they say like you don't have any limitation what you can spend on food. But as our aviation department, we're just very aware of like how much you spend, of
Considerate,
course.
yeah,
Yeah,
of course.
you got to be considerate. So that being said, that means like I have access to go buy healthy food and keep maintaining that lifestyle that I have at home. So a lot of times I go to Whole Foods and I just pick snacks like, okay, I know what legs I have today. Let me get bananas, let me get peanut butter, let me get this, let me get that, juices. So we have the access for healthy stuff. And that's why like also a big like, wow, I'm so grateful for that, because food on the road can be so hard with like all the restaurants, all like short time, you're in the terminal, you're hungry, you grab a pizza, you grab a burger, then it just start like on and on. And
right.
so I try as much as I can to plan what's my trip is going to look like. Kind of like you. I see a lot of your posts, like you're cooking, like what you're packing. I remember like when we went flying the second time in Long Beach, you already had your packed, warmed up, and you're like, yeah, that's my lunch.
Yeah.
You had a plan.
Yeah.
So once you have a plan, everything else is just going to be easy. You just have to stick to that plan. Just have a plan of where you're going to shop. And big thing I always say, like, just everybody has a different body,
Yeah.
You have a different way that you burn fat. You have a different lifestyle. Like, find what works with you the best and make it happen.
Yeah.
So I found what works really good with me on the road, and so far I didn't have any issues with like nutrition on the road.
Okay, good.
Because again, very grateful to have the access to healthy food.
Yeah, that's perfect. And also too, it's one of the great things that you could do is sometimes you'll do flights from like California to Australia, California to, you're in there for about 10 plus hours, right?
Yep.
And you bring some of those healthy snacks with you to eat, on the way there. You go through different international countries where customs are so different. What do they allow in? What do they not? But you don't have to worry about that because you're going to be there for, I don't know how many days. You always have the opportunity to go to the grocery store and get yourself something healthy to eat while also enjoying the cuisine from that country. Because I think that's very important. You need to have, or everybody needs to have that kind of lifestyle. The moment that you start being like, no, I'm not going to eat that because, you know, it doesn't fall in my diet, people start hating their diet.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. It's not a smart way. Yeah, exactly.
So that's really great that you do that with nutrition, and especially the planning part is one of the things that absolutely just sets you up for success. Because without planning, yeah, sometimes you can wing it and have good outcome, but when you plan for it,
absolutely,
you just have a higher rate of success. But also, a lot of things can happen when you plan that don't go accordingly, and that's when you're thrown off your balance. When you're thrown into that uncertainty, you're like, okay, what do I do? You revert back to what you know, right? Which is like, okay, what am I going to do to eat healthy? Mm-hmm. Well, I'm going to go try to get something that fits within my lifestyle and such and such. So for everybody's, like you mentioned, everybody has a different body, but everybody's lifestyle and everybody's means of obtaining something healthy doesn't have to be like regimented. It doesn't have to be one way, one size fits all, or only one way to do it.
Absolutely.
So it's really great what you just shared with us. What do you do for maintaining your fitness on the road?
Fitness on the road, as you guys know, and as you know, of course, like airline pilots or pilots in general, when they go to hotels, not all hotels have great gyms. Yeah. There's some gyms that have 25 pounds dumbbells and a couple benches and one treadmill or something.
Yeah.
So, and some hotels, when we stay international, of course, they have access to bigger gyms. Yeah. Like, hey, here's a membership to this. So that's like a huge thing. When we're on the road internationally, we usually have a big gym's access. Mm-hmm. So that's my go-to. I'm going to get I try to put 2 workouts a day. A lifting workout doesn't mean lifting heavy. It's more like functional stuff, what we usually do. Mm-hmm. And the second workout will be outside. I love running in different cities. So yeah, why not hit 3 miles in London? Then the day after, 3 miles in Paris and 3 miles in Amsterdam or this. So it's so cool to go out and be active and also exploring. So that's a huge thing for us as pilots who loves to train, take it outside. But the main fitness level of commitment I have on the road would be mainly outside, because I don't have access to good gyms all the time. Mm-hmm. Now I see you doing a lot of bands and workouts in your hotel, amazing, no excuses. This and this is why I want to learn more from what you provide, because sometimes you hit that plateau that you're I don't want to do this anymore. Right. I need something new. Yeah. So I'll flip that to you really quick, because I want to learn as well. How did you find that okay, I'm going to switch it into that gear today, or switch it to that category today? Because I feel always you have a different access for doing your physical activity on the road. Yeah. How did you find that?
When I was presented with the challenge of how am I going to train with such limited space and equipment, you have 2 options there. You're like, no, I'm not going to do anything because what I usually do, I can't do here. That's one option. The other option is, well, what can I do to at least get some sort of good training in, even with limited equipment and confined spaces? And I wanted to be able to do that enough for me to find resources and ways on how to do it. Obviously, knowledge helps with that. But one of the biggest things that I'll do is I worked out in a gym one time. I kid you not, man. It's from where that wall ends to this wall to where your sliding doors open. So that's
it.
That's it. It was literally 3 treadmills in a little rack with up to 25 pounds dumbbell.
Depressing.
So I was actually motivated to be how can I make a sick workout do that? In here? So here's what I did. I got on the treadmill. I did 15 minutes of interval training. So I ran 9 miles per hour, back down to 6. I did that for 15 minutes. Then I got into the dumbbells, and because they're very light dumbbells, I messed around with my tempo and my rest time. So messing around with the tempo means, I know you know this, but to explain people, it's how long your muscle is under tension. And depending on how long your muscle is under tension, you get a different adaptation, whether it's endurance, whether it's power, whether it's muscle building, whatever it is. So you mess around with how long your time is under tension, and you can start getting a really sick workout with only 20-pound dumbbells, right? And so then I added a little bit of plyometrics in there. What you need for plyometrics is just the space of where your body's at. You just need a square. You can do jumping lunges, you can do jumping squats, you can do
absolutely
so many things. And so I kind of made a little workout right there, which involved HIIT training, plyometric with slowed down tempo on the dumbbells. And it took me 45 minutes, and it was just as hard as if I were to be in a gym that was a lot bigger with more equipment. And that's how I just made it work. But I accepted that challenge. I was like, well, let's find out. I was intrigued. Let's find out what I can do.
Yes, I love it.
And that was the initial mindset, followed by the knowledge that I have, followed by the consistency.
That's it.
And that's it right there.
Let's highlight this consistency with anything in life. You have to have consistency. Nothing is gonna come really quick, but that's a great way to think about it. Like switching up that small,
little things will just, and then all of a sudden you find yourself like, well, if you're lifting heavier and you're used to resting more, what if you decrease the weight that you're doing, increase the time under tension, and rest less?
Yeah.
Now you're working. Now you're almost doing interval training as well, because you're going from a state where all of a sudden you're doing 15 reps. Right? So now your metabolic state is, hitting where fat is burning for fuel. You're in that 15 rep range at that weight. And then all of a sudden you rest less and you go right back into it. Well, when you go right back into it, your metabolic state goes to anaerobic. So now you're burning glucose instead of fat. Yep. So you're going from that glucose burn, glucose burn, which is the same thing as if you run 9 miles per hour and then you walk, and then 9 miles per hour. So when you start to understand how things work in your body, it's so much easier to create something out of nothing.
Absolutely. I agree. That's amazing, man.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
Thanks, man. Yeah, so that's what it is. And to everybody, they do the lifestyle that they want. There are pilots and flight attendants that only like to do heavy lifting, bodybuilding kind of things. So what they'll do is they'll take their rest and cardio days on the road, and they don't touch weights on the road. They touch the weights when they get back home, and where they could put up a lot of weight. But they work on the little things on the road. Like,
do you have a lot of because I'm not obviously in the airline world, but do you have a lot of pilots or flight attendants that they lift heavy and
the ones that it's not that common, but at least for me, in my eyes I think it's common because I get to talk to so many of them from all around the world on Instagram, and also the people that I see, and they get to share their stories with me. For me, it sounds common because I genuinely like to hear their stories, and it's so often. Awesome. Yeah. But it's not that common at all.
Okay.
Percentage-wise of, I'm not going to throw a percentage number out there because I'll be talking out of my ass. I don't really know what percentage it would be, but it's not that much.
Yeah.
Let's just say.
Okay.
But it's very interesting to hear what they have to say because it's a different approach. Okay. I think that if you ever want to do something that you are worried about trying something new, you have to be able to get different approaches from people and learn from that, because you may be able to really like what that other person's doing. But one, you have to not be afraid of change. And two, take what other people have to say in terms of their routines and their stuff, and a little bit of that can work for you.
Absolutely. I cannot even say anything now. You just
I keep hitting the nail on the head.
Hitting the nail on the head.
So Seif, tell me about your short-term fitness goals and your long-term fitness goals, because I know you're training for something here that's pretty
no, absolutely. Short-term fitness goals. So last April, we had a flight to London, and I was running with one of my very close friends in London, and we ran for 3 miles, and it was 4 days after the marathon over there, and we just ran through the city. And it was so cool. Like, you're just seeing a lot of tourists. Everyone is just like, yo, watch out. Like, they're running, and you get that like adrenaline full speed, and you're like, yo, I like that. And your music, and you see Big Ben here, Eye of London here, or like the palace is here. So it was so cool. And after that run, my friend told me like, hey, would you be down if we run the London Marathon next year?
Oh,
I'm like,
snap.
I mean, say less.
Say
Say
less.
less. Let's do it. So something else about aviation and fitness, you always have to have kind of a challenge, a new challenge. Just like we talked about the plateau thing. I felt like that's a suddenly instant like excitement that came into my brain as a fitness like level. You know, I go to the track like 3-4 times a week when I'm here in Miami. But that excitement, I'm like, okay, you know what? This is something different. 26.2 miles, this is a lot of running. I'm like, I don't know if I can do it, but let's see how the program is gonna run. And we planned it. We are actually registered in the London Marathon now.
That's cool.
We're gonna be running for a charity. He's gonna be running for one of the charities. I think like getting children into like doing hiking and adventure stuff. And I'm gonna be running for the spinal cord charity.
Okay.
So this is just something cool that you're running for a cause and you're raising money for a specific cause. Beside that, we had to have one marathon before. So we decided that we're gonna run the Long Beach Marathon in California, October 15.
That's coming up,
yeah,
bro.
so it's like in 2 months or
Yeah,
something.
like that.
So we've been training the past, I would say 3 months almost.
Okay.
We downloaded the Nike running app. They have a marathon program. We kind of played with it a little bit. Since me and him, we have like an athletic background, so we can kick gears a little bit higher. But so far, it's been such a humbling experience, fitness-wise, body-wise, because you kind of push yourself a little bit. You would run 3 miles, then you add 4 and 5, you'd be like, wow, this is my first time running 5 miles. Then you see they have 6 and 7, you're like, okay, this is a lot. Then you hit like 13.1 miles, half a marathon last Sunday. It was like, okay, like you start feeling
you're
different.
halfway, but it's like
you start feeling like your hips and this and your breathing, and it's just start challenging you. And I love this. I love that challenge feeling. So to answer your question, marathon in October, Long Beach Marathon. If any of y'all wanna like support, on the side, just let me know. I'm just playing. I play around like that a lot. But yeah, I mean, if you guys want to have a gel packets, water, and stuff like that ready, we'd love to have it, So yeah, that would be cool, man. Yeah. You should actually look into that London Marathon and see if you can get into it and make it happen.
I did always am looking for challenges, and I think that competition is one of the things that I've been that I've been missing for me to keep things interesting. Because long-term wise, I think you and I can agree that long-term fitness goal is obviously to stay healthy and longevity and to be able to function.
Yes.
Much younger than our actual age.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
That's the long-term goal. But in the meantime, to get through that, you need to be challenged exactly how you said it throughout that whole course. And for me, I was like, well, I don't really think I can get into running a marathon because I haven't found the way on how to get past the mindset to run more than a 5K.
Yeah. Okay.
It's just, for me, I'm all like, I want short bursts. I want to go as fast as I can for, 3.12 miles. Done. Is it a challenge for me mentally to be able to do a half and a full? Yeah, absolutely. But then I started getting into Spartan races, and I'm like, let me see if I could do that. That actually looks really cool. And so I did. The hard part is that the Spartan races are during the weekends, and I'm junior. So I don't get weekends off. So it's really hard for me. So now I'm kind of like, okay, well, what's my next challenge going to be until I can possibly do those kinds of racing? And it wasn't until about like 2 weeks ago where I'm like, maybe I should go back into martial arts. And so I did. Last week I went with Jess. We went to a Krav Maga class at the
Oh
place,
yeah?
not the place where I used to do
How was
Krav Maga.
that? I always read about it and saw like people doing it, but I never knew like.
Krav Maga is a really special form of martial arts. It's mainly geared to self-defense.
Okay.
You practice a lot of real world scenarios that can happen to you, defending yourself from, one or multiple opponents, different kinds of chokes, different kinds of bear hugs or anything like that. If they have weapons, knives, guns, how to defend yourself with those things. It's a lot of good mental training, because a lot of the training in Krav Maga, sometimes they will put you in a situation where it's kind of realistic. So inside the gym, they'll put you in a corner, they'll dim the lights, maybe put some strobes on, and then get 3 people around you to hit you with these pads. And then you got to start, you hit one pad while other people are hitting you. So that's already kind of throwing you out of this ball game.
Wow.
And you're starting to get tired because you're doing combinations between kicking and punching. And then all of a sudden, at any random moment, a 4th person will come in.
No way.
And do either a choke or a bear hug or try to take you down. And then you, after being tired in a situation where you're out of concentration, get out of what you are in. Wow. Whether it's a choke or a bear hug or whatever, or somebody points a gun at you, like what you're going to do, that relates to real life. That's the real cool thing about Krav Maga, is that you're really learning self-defense. And I think every crew member should take courses and classes of Krav Maga, because
like a self-defense.
Because self-defense, not only when you're in the airplane, but when you're on your layover, you never know what could happen.
There's a lot of sketchy places.
You know self-defense. So one great thing, you're learning self-defense. 2, the most challenged physically that I've ever been in my life was a Krav Maga test.
No way.
Krav Maga testing, man, it was a couple hours long, but I have never been so tired or so exhausted and still continue to punch and hit so freaking hard.
Okay.
And then they try to throw you on the floor, they try to do something to you to choke you out, and you get out of it. And it's, you cross that mental threshold of I can't do this
survival
anymore.
Now. This is
and
survival.
It's like all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, if I don't do anything, they're gonna choke me out.
Yeah.
And you enter this different freaking stage of energy, or I don't know what it is, man, but you really reach deep down, and your the way of doing things just comes out, and you get out of that thing. And I was challenged both physically and mentally on passing this thing, and it was just such a great experience. And I want to do that again. I want to do that again, man. So I think that's the next thing for me.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm pretty excited. I'm really looking forward to that. But it's also the mental part of what martial arts teaches you. Aside from the Krav Maga, aside from the physical toughness that it provides, I kind of want to enter a different martial arts as well at the same time, that is more on the art and the form of doing techniques, like Taekwondo or Judo or things like that, where you practice a routine. And this routine is a systematic way of doing certain moves that are, based on that kind of martial arts. But the energy flow, to just let go of what's in your head and transfer that energy out. So you have it's like if you were very stressed and you go out for a run, you feel better. Doing this in terms of martial arts, and I think that's very valuable. To at least for me, I think I would value that a lot.
That's awesome.
So I think I'm going to get into both of those kinds of training and challenge myself, not only physically but mentally as well.
Yeah, man, you have to challenge yourself always, so you can learn and rise.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, Seif, you we obviously met through social media, which was a really cool experience, and we clicked from day one, man. It was really great. But what are your thoughts about social media, man? What's it could be a really great source, or it could be a not so great source. What do you think about it?
Great question. Great question. Social media. So as you know, I had my Instagram handle pilot.seif, my YouTube channel Seif Travels, and I was doing all that stuff, and we're literally motivating each other, working together a lot, and I love social media. I love doing a lot of taking pictures, as you see. I love the editing. I really enjoyed editing. But it came a time in my life, almost like 2 years ago. No, sorry, it was a year and a half. That's the ice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, like what's going on here?
Yeah, yeah, that's the ice. Ready for margaritas? No, just kidding. So it came a year and a half ago. Time in my life where I had to be very present, very aware of my surroundings and not on my phone a lot. And I didn't really have time for social media. So I kind of just, the plan I was going to delete it, put on hold a little bit, but that hold, it's till that day. So I felt social media for me. So I felt like I needed to be off my phone. I did not enjoy being on my phone a lot. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy creating content and editing and doing all that stuff, but I felt I just need to change a little bit. So that's why I stopped. But that change kept going with me, and I felt so kind of like light without it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, different scenarios like your Instagram or your content, this is something different. This is kind of like your second job, let's say. So this depends on a lot of stuff, but it becomes the same cycle on social media when you start scrolling and the same post. Like I didn't have any value coming out of it, so the best thing for me was like to cut it for now. Maybe I'll hop on YouTube again, do some cool stuff with like showing like the marathon prep or like traveling the world in the new airplane that we're gonna get. And so I'm still thinking about it. But social media is a great source if you know what you're doing, but it can be very like distracting as well.
Right.
If you just
I think
keep
that's
going
the
with
perfect
it.
word. Yeah.
Yeah.
It could be very distracting. I would love to see Seif Travels come back. If you didn't get a chance to see what Seif Travels is it's pretty much like what we're doing now, except that he was doing it on an airplane and he would take people flying. And it was some
fun.
of the coolest interviews that I've heard, and it was so much fun because it was probably some people's first flight ever in a small airplane, and some were scared, some were not, and you did such a good job to put them at ease and still get a great story out of them. And I thought that was very just constructive. I thought it was awesome. I thought it was
Thank you.
A great source to be able to just listen to, learn from, and just learn people's lives.
Yes.
But they're thrown out of their balance because they're in a small plane and there's a little bit of turn. So I thought it was really cool. If it ever comes back, please get me in for another episode, because that was fun when we did ours, man.
I know. I still have the footage. But I never put it up. But yeah, thank you. I appreciate you. Yeah, it was a fun at the moment, at the time. But once you start getting like bigger things on your plate, you got to be aware of what's. That was more important for me, focusing on that career that I came in. Flying for a family I would fly for, I had to have all my gears focused towards that.
Absolutely.
But yeah, we'll see if there's a mini comeback will come.
That'd be cool. That'd be a lot of fun. Except that you're going to have to do it on the G650.
Yes, sir.
Or the Caravan.
Or the Caravan, or the Latitude.
Either one.
Latitude is a very fun airplane, man.
I've heard it's really cool.
It's super cool. It's super, like, of course, it's a lot slower than the Gulfstream.
Yeah.
But it's such a G5000, all touch screen, super easy. It's a little heavier because it's not, of course, fly-by-wire.
Right.
So you're still pulling those cables. But it's a nice airplane. I like it.
Yeah. No, right on, man. That's awesome. Habibi, thank you so much for just taking the time and having me here, bro.
Thank you.
Beautiful setup. This beautiful espresso martinis. These great snacks. Thank you again. The original Daily Bread.
Absolutely.
This is awesome. And this is not going to be our only episode together. We're actually going to do a couple of them together and get a couple of different subjects that might help people, not only in fitness, but in aviation, because we both are in two different kinds of aviation. So it's going to help a ton of people. So, Habibi, thank you so much, brother.
Thank you. So proud of you. So happy for what you're doing. I think you're motivating and teaching a lot of people outside that want to be pilots, or you're already a pilot that fly for an airline or a corporate or a fighter or whatever it is. Like, we give them a different perspective, because as you know, like, the aviation community is very tight and small, and it's always let's all help each other. Even if you're not a pilot and you just wanna and you're working 9-to-5 job, you can still watch this and learn a little bit of tips of what we do when you guys go on the road. How can you adjust this? No, man, thank you, and proud of what you're doing, and looking forward to create some great content for great people.
Yeah, man. Thank you, bro. Man. Hey, everybody. Follow the Fit Aviators Club podcast on Instagram. Please, if you love this episode, give it a rating, give it a like, and I'd greatly appreciate that. You can also check out YouTube, Fit Aviators Club, and you'll be able to see this on video as well as in Spotify. You guys take care. Have a safe rest of your week, and we'll see you soon.
Safe travels, baby.